Consistency. Consistency is the number one thing that sets apart the great traders from the average ones, from the beginner ones. If you're not consistent, if you don't study these charts like a maniac, how are you going to expect to beat the other 90% of traders that are studying the charts every single day, trading every single day, learning from their mistakes and doing their due diligence just like a professional athlete would, just like a professional musician would? If you want to be successful in day trading, it's got to be a craft that you work on day in and day out over the long term. And that's what we're going to do in today's video. The market closed about an hour ago. What I like to do, I like to go over the setups that I saw in today's price action. And I'm just going to walk through all the trades I saw today. And we're going to be all along for the ride. So if we zoom out, we had a crazy uptrend throughout the day, and in the afternoon session, we kind of sold off a bit, which is expected, but let's dive into the trades. Let's talk about what I also took on the live stream today. I'm live streaming every single day at Market Open, so if you're not watching, if you're not tuning in, hop in, join the boy. Okay, so in the overnight session, we had a bit of a range-like structure. So at this point, we definitely didn't have this uptrend drawn. What we did have was something like this. So the rules of trading ranges are that we look to sell at the highs, we look to buy at the lows, because in a healthy range, we move from the lows to the highs, back down to the lows, back up to the highs. Now, obviously, what ended up happening was that we had a breakout of the range that ended up leading to some really, really strong momentum upward. But let's talk about the first trade I took on stream. We had this range drawn. We had a breakout of the top of the range. We also had this leg working up. We had a break. We had a new high. It was another two-legged pullback. So counting from this bottom, we went up. First attempt to go short. Second attempt to go short at the highs, at the resistance area. It worked out for a nice scalp. Now, in a healthy trading range, as we were talking about, if we're going to break out from the top, we expect that prices do work to the bottom. We didn't quite have that here. We worked below the EMA. We came back above the EMA, only to get rejected again. So at this point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hop in on this. I took this lower high right here, confirming that what I thought was gonna happen should happen. So we had this lower high bear signal bar below the EMA. I took it expecting prices to come back to the lows here, but something went wrong. I mean, the trade worked out for a scalp. That's why we go for 1 point scalps. But we ended up trading higher, and we got another opportunity to actually sell right here. So counting from this low, once again, it was the second pullback, bearish bar at the highs of the range. But at this point, you have to keep into account the entire context of what we were just talking about. We tried to go lower several different times only to be rejected. So I didn't take this trade, and even though it worked out, I wouldn't suggest taking it because of the reasons that we spoke about. If you're going to take a trade at the top of the range as a failed breakout, you want it to follow all the context rules as well, not just the pattern of a two-legged pullback. You also have to keep into account there's a reason that we didn't work to the lows. So those are the reasons that I wouldn't recommend taking the short here. So now at this point, because the rules of a healthy trading range were not followed, we didn't end up trading to the lows. We had a push up breakout that didn't end up failing. You have to be able to switch gears and start thinking, okay, something's off here. Maybe it's time to look for a long setup to trap people trying to just pick a top, ignoring the previous context that we were speaking of. So here was a slightly more aggressive trade that ended up working out in a huge way. It was a two-legged pullback now in the long direction. So double top, first entry, second entry long. We're at the EMA. You gotta think at this point that we're just trying to take out the previous highs of the overnight session. And that is indeed what ended up happening. And we We just took out those stops and kept running. And notice what I have marked right here. These two trades are two terrible trades that I took live on stream, and it's a textbook example of what you should not do when you see a significant move up. You don't want to just pick a top betting that, okay, you know what, we've had a significant move up, it might be time to have a retracement back to the EMA. And the second trade I took here, there's no real reason other than I took a revenge trade. I was pissed about the first one, tried to take a scalp, and that's exactly why we see this sort of price action. When you see a nice uptrend followed by a lot of stacked bars, but it seemed that every low we're making is just higher than the next one, higher lows, higher highs. It's just adding fuel to the fire, because there are a lot of traders trying to pick a top, getting trapped, and it just continues to lead to this upward movement. So on an uptrend day, on a downtrend day, whatever it is, the trend is your friend. Go with the trend. Don't try to force it, and you should be good to go. So now the uptrend continues. We have a lot of sideways bars, but it's kind of the same situation that we just had here. When you have these sideways bars after a nice move up, it usually just means a lot of shorts are getting trapped. They're trying to push the market down. They're getting rejected. So when we had a nice higher low after a touch at this EMA, I went with the trend again. Didn't go against the trend like we had previously, and it led to a nice little move. Now let's talk about this trade. This is a textbook trade that we look for. I'm going to take this 99 times out of 100, if not 100 times out of 100. Perfect bounce off the bottom side of the trend. Perfect bounce off of the EMA. Closed on its high. On top of the fact that it's a first entry, second entry long, two-legged pullback in an uptrend. And what do we have? It led to an excellent move, as expected. So now we're about an hour, a little over an hour into market open, and we finally get the first break of this trend. But the rules of trends, the rules of the markets aren't that we just go up and then straight down, especially after such a significant move. So when we see this break, I'm still expecting that we're going to come test this high, just because of the rules of the markets, as well as common sense and intuition. After such a significant move up, it doesn't make sense, just common sense wise, to reverse without testing this level, without seeing, okay, maybe the market can push higher. Maybe we just had half of the movement for the day. I mean, you never know. You never can be too confident that the trend is going to reverse in the opposite direction unless prices tell you otherwise. So now we do have a push below the EMA. We have a short-term downtrend, but the same thinking applies here. We have the break, we have the new low, so I'm still leaning towards us reaching the high of the day when we push up once, test the EMA, push up again twice, have a nice bullish bar. A lot of short sellers are going to be trapped. It's a form of a first entry, second entry short failure. Once again, no reason to try to sell this market. We're still holding at the EMA. We still have a great, strong uptrend intact, and it led to a nice move up. And now we get two more legs up. We're making higher highs. We're making higher lows. At this point of the day is when I start to reassess and think, you know what? There's probably an even wider uptrend at play, and that looks pretty concise. It looks beautiful to me, to be honest, and I'm still only looking for long setups. I'm looking to trap short sellers in their traps, and we get another form of a little mini range here, but these bars stacked are just signaling there's going to be some profit taking, but also a lot of people trying to pick the tops, getting trapped themselves. So same range rules apply here. We have a failed breakout, nice bullish bar, expecting prices to reach the highs. That's exactly what happened. I'm going to take that trade. And let's talk about this one right here. It's a form of a double trap, extremely, extremely powerful trade, because if you are thinking, okay, this market is going to reverse, you take this trade right here. We have a new high. We have one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and it looks like it's going to fail. Excellent bearish signal bar. But once again, you don't even want to be thinking to go short until after we're already proven to be going lower. So as soon as the next bar prints very bullish, it's a form of a double trap. All the short sellers thinking they're going to trap longs, they're going to get trapped themselves. Take that trade all day. There's even a higher low confirming this EMA is still holding. Take that as well. And those are the powerful trades that can really make you some money. So now, after that move is when we start having the break. We start having a significant move down, which now can tell us, okay, you know what? We had such a strong move up. It was bound to happen at some point. We were bound to start working lower. And now is when you can switch gears and think, okay, maybe I can start looking for some shorts. So I marked this trade as a slightly aggressive one. It's a form of a two-legged pullback, but the signal bar finished very neutrally, but you might consider that one. And then we ended up just working very sideways. Really for the rest of the day, we ended up having this nice little precise range. So I marked this trade, triple test at the highs of this range. We went from the lows, we went to the highs. We're expecting to go back down to the lows. It's exactly what happened. So you might consider this trade as well. And then we actually break out the bottom side. So we have a trend working down. We have a break. We have a move to a new extreme. Nice bullish signal bar. A lot of room to the EMA. You might consider this trade as well as this higher low, thinking that prices are going to go back to the highs of this range. And that's what we end up having. But after that, the rest of the day was very, very choppy, very neutral, which sometimes does happen after such strong moves up or down. But hope you guys had a great trading day. Tune in to the live stream tomorrow morning. We'll see you there. Peace out. Have a good one.